Hi there, I'm Colleen Adrian, parent coach, and I sometimes get asked the question, how can I calm myself before talking with my teen or my preteen about a difficult situation or something that's happened? And that can be really hard, right? It's triggering. It's emotionally triggering if our teen or preteen has started to venture off and try some risky behaviors, or they're talking about wanting to do that, or if they do or say something that triggers our own painful past experiences from our experiences as a teen or a preteen, right? So if you've had a small or a large conflict with your teen, or if there's tension for some reason, you might be kind of running around with ideas running through your head about, and maybe even tippy-toeing a little bit, trying to figure out, how is it best to approach them, and when is it best to try to reconnect or approach them or talk to them about it. And when we've been emotionally triggered, you're probably trying to figure it out because you know deep inside yourself that if you've been emotionally triggered, it can be really hard to talk with them without getting emotional or reacting, or doing something that shuts them down again. And it can be hard to sort out exactly what to say, how to say it, and how much to say, right? Sometimes if we're feeling anxious, and I've done this a lot, we tend to talk a little bit too much, and that shuts our kids down again. So here's a few tips. Start by getting some clarity. Right? Write down, what are you afraid of? What are the beliefs that you have that are causing you to be worried or scared or frustrated? Um, Ask yourself if those beliefs are true. Ask yourself if they're outdated. Do they belong to you, or are they something that's still rattling around in your subconscious from your parents and the way you were parented? Or are they based on your past experiences? And are you trying to prevent your child from having a painful experience that you had? Because as noble and admirable as that is, and as much as I understand that as somebody who's done it myself, it doesn't always, it usually doesn't work out, that you can sort of save them or rescue them from those things. But that's a topic for another day. So as you're doing your journaling or your exploration, if you find anxiety or fear coming up that you believe is related to your past experiences, see if you can stay present with those sensations in your body, and perhaps offer yourself some support or comfort. Typically that's a trigger from a past emotional, sort of a traumatic event. And by traumatic, I just mean you didn't have somebody to help you regulate. I don't mean necessarily that you experienced violence. But you can try to track your own sensations. You can use the orienting video that I have under the resources tab on my website. If you discover that you have some outdated beliefs, you can try journaling, or talking with a partner or a trusted friend to try gaining some clarity. And a couple of suggested questions you might be able to use to gain some clarity. What do you believe in and value, right? And what's your bottom line? And for example, my bottom line has always been safety and connection, staying connected. So there was a lot of things that I let go of in order to do my best to ensure that my son would be safe, and to ensure that we would stay connected, even if letting go of those things meant that I had more anxiety in the long run. And then what I did with that anxiety was, to go back to the previous step, I did some tracking of my sensations when I was triggered, and I also did healing work with practitioners. Okay, so the next point, I've got 4 more points here. Pick a time when you're both calm and the tension has died down. Preferably, you've reconnected and things are feeling a little bit lighter between you. But regardless, let some time go by and pick a time when there's less tension and a little more connection. Next point, imagining what's important to them and being curious about it. So this is really about, not that prying energy that we might feel a bit tempted to do, because it might resolve some of our anxiety, but really trying to understand what is going on for them from their perspective. What is it that they're wanting? What is it that they're deeply trying to, what need is it that they're trying to meet? Socially, physically, emotionally, those kinds of things, getting curious about what it's like to be walking in their shoes. And this next point isn't necessary, but it can help to imagine how they might respond and prepare for that, right? You know your child, you might be able to guess how they'll respond to your response. And last but not least, out of all of this that I've just said, pick one or two key points that you, or sentences, or things that you want to share that you would hope to be able to get across to your child, or teen, I should call them, in your discussion with them, and figure out how you can stay focused on those and keep it short. So instead of all of the things that you might say, try to figure out a way that you can just kind of do a lot of listening and then keep what you have to say fairly short. So those are a few quick tips for how to approach your teen or your preteen with a difficult conversation. I hope it's been helpful. Thanks for listening. And any questions, of course, pop them in down below.